Responsibility is one of those words that carries weight, whether we acknowledge it or not. It's often spoken about in terms of obligation, what you owe to others, what's expected of you, what must be done. But responsibility runs deeper than duty. At its core, responsibility is about ownership. And ownership always begins with yourself. Before responsibility shows up in your work, your family, or your team, it shows up in how you live when no one else is watching. It shows up in your standards, in the promises you keep to yourself, and whether your actions align with the person you claim to be. We all carry responsibilities to others, to show up, to contribute, to be reliable. These matter. They build trust. They create stability. But none of them can be sustained if you neglect the responsibility you have to yourself. When self-responsibility is weak, everything else eventually suffers. Responsibility to yourself means refusing to drift. It means deciding what you stand for and acting accordingly, even when it's inconvenient. It's holding yourself to a standard that doesn't depend on external pressure or supervision. No one needs to remind you. You already know this. This is where many people struggle. It's easier to meet expectations when they're enforced from the outside. It's harder to enforce them internally. Responsibility requires honesty, especially when excuses are available, especially when effort goes unnoticed. Owning responsibility doesn't mean being perfect. It means being accountable. When things fall short, you don't deflect blame. You don't hide behind circumstances. You look directly at what was within your control and you take ownership of it. This mindset changes how you show up everywhere. At work, responsibility means doing the job with care, not just completion. It means contributing fully, even when recognition isn't guaranteed. With family, it means presence, emotional as well as physical. Being dependable, not just available. On a team, it means preparation, effort, and integrity. You don't lower the standard because no one is checking. But none of this works without self-responsibility first. Your responsibility to yourself is to protect your values, to maintain your discipline, to make decisions that align with who you're trying to become, not just how you feel in the moment. It's about choosing long-term self-respect over short-term comfort. When you ignore that responsibility, it shows. Standards slip, effort becomes inconsistent. You begin to rely on motivation instead of commitment. Over time, that erosion creates frustration, not because life is unfair, but because you know you've compromised something. Responsibility is not meant to be heavy. It's meant to be grounding. It gives structure. It gives clarity. When you know what you're responsible for, decisions become simpler. You just stop negotiating with yourself and you act. And the more consistently you uphold your own standards, the more trust you build internally. That trust becomes confidence, not loud or showy, but steady. You know who you are because your actions reinforce it daily. Ultimately, responsibility is not about carrying the weight of the world. It's about carrying your share with intention, about showing up fully in the roles you choose to hold, starting with the one you can't step away from. The responsibility to be honest with yourself, to respect your own standards, to live in a way that doesn't require excuses. Everything else flows from there. There comes a point when the familiar begins to feel a little too tight, like a shirt we've outgrown without noticing. Nothing's wrong in any dramatic way, yet something inside whispers that the old way of being no longer fits. This quiet nudge towards growth shows up in different forms. A relentlessness, a subtle discomfort, a sense that the routines we once found comforting have turned into invisible fences. And while it's easy to ignore those whispers, they have a purpose. They're a reminder of an ancient truth. We are not meant to to stay the same. Human beings are designed to evolve. Nature tells the same story over and over. The caterpillar becoming a butterfly, the tides rising and falling, the seasons shifting in their steady rhythm. Nothing in the natural world stays frozen, and yet we often expect ourselves to. We hold on to habits, identities, and patterns simply because they feel comfortable. But comfort, as soothing as it is, can quietly become a cage. Growth doesn't always announce itself with drama or fireworks. More often it begins as a subtle pulse inside us, a sense that we are being called to expand beyond our current edges. Maybe the conversations we used to enjoy don't feel as meaningful. Maybe our goals no longer excite us the same way. Maybe we wake up one morning feeling like we've been living on autopilot, going through the motions instead of truly engaging with our lives. None of this is failure. It's simply evolution knocking. The challenge is that evolution requires honesty. It asks us to look at what we've outgrown, not with judgment, but with gratitude. A chapter once served us, but it may not serve who we're becoming. And acknowledging that can bring a strange mixture of relief and fear. Relief because we know change is needed. Fear because stepping into the unknown always requires courage. But fear doesn't mean we're on the wrong path. In many cases, it means we're exactly where growth begins. There's a gentle reassurance in remembering that evolution is not a race. It doesn't demand that we transform overnight or reinvent every part of our lives at once. Growth is rarely loud. More often it's slow, patient, and consistent. Just as winter prepares the ground for spring, the seasons in our own lives prepare us for what's next. Even stillness has purpose. Uncertainty has wisdom. Being not quite there yet doesn't mean we're lost. It means we're in the process. And there will be times when we resist change, not because we don't want to grow, but because we're afraid of leaving behind the identity we've known for so long. That resistance is natural. Every tree must shed its leaves before new growth can form. We are no different. Letting go is not about abandoning who we were, but about making space for who we're becoming. When we allow ourselves to evolve, we reconnect with a deeper sense of meaning. We begin to feel more aligned, more awake, more alive. We rediscover curiosity. We remember what it feels like to be hopeful about the future instead of anxious about standing still. Evolution gives us permission to breathe again, to dream again, to step into the next chapter with more awareness and intention. And so, if life feels like it's urging you forward, even softly or subtly, trust that feeling. Growth doesn't come to punish you, it comes to guide you. It comes to remind you that you are capable of more than the version of yourself you used to settle for. In the end, evolving is simply returning to your true nature. It's remembering that you were never meant to stay unchanged. And when you lean into that truth, even gently, you may find that the next version of you has been waiting patiently on the other side of your hesitation, ready to take your hand and lead you forward. Have you ever told yourself, I'm setting a boundary, when really deep down you were just avoiding something? Well, you're not alone. We've all done it. And it matters because while boundaries protect us, avoidance can quietly rob us of growth. Let's start with boundaries. A boundary is not a wall you build to keep people out. It's a line you draw to protect what matters most, like your energy, your values, your well-being. Boundaries say, this is who I am, this is what I need, and this is what I will allow and what I won't. They're not about shutting the world off. They're about keeping yourself safe enough to show up fully in it. Think of boundaries like the guardrails on a highway. They don't stop you from driving, from moving forward, or from reaching your destination. They simply keep you from swerving into danger. Now, without them, the road becomes unsafe, chaotic, even destructive. Boundaries in life do the same. They keep us grounded, focused, and able to give our best where it matters most. Now let's talk about avoidance. Because avoidance wears a disguise. It can look like a boundary. It can sound like, I just don't deal with that person anymore, or I don't want to think about it. But avoidance doesn't protect you, it limits you. Avoidance is about fear. It's about running from discomfort instead of learning from it. Here's the difference. A boundary is created from strength. Avoidance is born from fear. Avoidance says, I don't want to feel this, so I'll just hide. Boundaries say, I'm strong enough to face this, but I choose to protect my peace as I do. Think about a tough conversation with a loved one. Avoidance says, I'll just ignore the problem. But that problem grows and it festers. It creates distance, bitterness, and pain. A boundary, on the other hand, says, I'm willing to talk about this, but I won't allow shouting, disrespect, or blame. If we can talk calmly, I'm here. Now that's not hiding, that's protecting while engaging. Avoidance keeps you stuck. Boundaries help you move forward. Boundaries do require courage. It takes strength to say no. It takes clarity to announce what matters most. Avoidance feels easier in the moment because it lets you step away from the discomfort. But the growth you want, the healing you crave, the relationships you long for, they don't live in avoidance. They live on the other side of courage. So how do we know the difference in our own lives? Are you protecting yourself so you can grow, or are you running away so you don't have to face the hard stuff? That's the question that can shift everything. Protecting yourself while engaging in life, that's a boundary. Running away to stay safe but stuck, that's avoidance. And it's okay if you've been avoiding. We all do it. There's no shame in being human, but there's power in recognizing it. Because once you see the difference, you get to choose differently. You get to set boundaries that honor who you are instead of slipping into avoidance that keeps you from who you could become. At the end of the day, your life deserves clarity. You deserve relationships that are built on respect, not resentment. You deserve to walk through this world with peace, not with fear. And that means learning the art of setting boundaries without falling into the trap of avoidance. Boundaries are not about shutting life out. They're about letting yourself in, fully, authentically, powerfully. Avoidance will keep you small, but boundaries will give you the strength to stand tall. You don't have to hide from life. After all, you were built to live it. When we hear the words mental toughness, many people picture athletes pushing through the last mile of a marathon, or weightlifters grinding out one more rep. And while those moments are powerful examples, mental toughness isn't just about what happens on the track or in the gym. It's about how you show up every single day when life gets messy, unpredictable, and hard. Think about the last time you faced something that pushed you to your limits. Maybe it was a financial setback, a relationship that broke down, or a health challenge you didn't see coming. In those moments, mental toughness isn't about having superhuman strength. It's about finding the courage to keep moving forward, even when you feel like quitting. Mental toughness in everyday life starts small. It shows up when you choose to stay calm instead of snapping back during an argument. It shows up when you commit to saving a little money each month, even if it feels like progress is slow. It shows up when you wake up on a tough morning and you don't want to face the day, but you decide to get out of bed anyway. You see, grit isn't just for athletes. It's for parents who keep showing up for their kids, even when they're exhausted. It's for students who study late into the night because they believe in their future. It's for anyone who refuses to let a setback define the rest of their story. See, one of the biggest misconceptions about mental toughness is that it's about never struggling. But that's not true. See, mentally tough people struggle just like everyone else. They feel the fear, doubt, and discouragement. But the difference is they've learned to keep moving forward despite those feelings. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're walking through a storm. The wind is pushing against you. The rain is pouring down. And every step feels heavy. Now you could turn back and go home. But if your destination matters enough, you'll keep walking. That's what mental toughness looks like in life. It's the decision to keep putting one foot in front of the other, no matter how strong the storm feels. Mental toughness isn't something that you're necessarily born with, but it is something that you can build. Every time you face discomfort and choose not to give up, you're strengthening that muscle. Every time you hold yourself to a promise you made, you're training your grit. Just like a physical muscle grows in the gym, your inner strength grows in the struggles of everyday life. If you want to build mental toughness, then when you say you'll do something, follow through. When life knocks you down, get up. When you fail, learn, adjust, and try again. It's about persistence. You get to define your life by how you respond when life gets hard. And those moments, the ones that challenge you, are where your strength is forged. So next time you face a setback, remind yourself, it's not a wall, it's a test. And every test is an opportunity to grow stronger. You've survived every single bad day you've faced so far. And that means you have what it takes to face the next one too. Grit isn't just about winning big battles, it's about showing up in the small ones day after day. And if you can do that, there's nothing in life you can't overcome. Self-doubt doesn't scream, it whispers. It whispers when you look in the mirror and wonder if you're enough. It whispers when you have an idea but talk yourself out of sharing it. It whispers when you scroll through social media comparing yourself to everyone else and thinking, they've got something I don't. But you are not broken, you are not lacking, you are simply human, and self-doubt is a part of being human. The goal isn't to erase it completely. The goal is to not let it win. Because self-doubt doesn't leave on its own. You have to build your way out of it day by day, brick by brick, habit by habit. So let's talk about how. Let's talk about what you can do every single day to remind yourself that you are capable, you're worthy, and you are enough. Let's start with your mornings. Before the world has a chance to speak to you, you speak to you. Wake up and remind yourself who you are. This doesn't have to be fancy. It's just 1 minute in the mirror saying, I can do hard things. I am still growing. I've survived every tough day so far. This might feel silly at first, but repetition rewires the brain. And if you've spent years doubting yourself, it'll take daily truth to undo the damage. Next, move your body. Not for punishment, but for power. Doesn't have to be much, just move, stretch, walk, lift, dance. Movement reminds your brain that you're alive, that you're strong, that you're in control of something. Then do one thing that proves your effort. Self-doubt thrives in inaction, but confidence builds in motion. So even if it's tiny, do one thing every day that supports your goals. Write one paragraph, apply for one opportunity. Practice for 10 minutes, clean one drawer. Doesn't matter what it is. What matters is you're showing up. Now remember, self-doubt is fueled by harsh self-talk. So every time you catch yourself thinking that I'm not good enough, answer back with, I'm getting better. You don't need to lie to yourself. You just need to speak with hope, not hate. I mean, you wouldn't talk to your best friend the way you talk to yourself, so change the voice in your head because you hear it more than anyone else does. Another daily practice is surround yourself with truth tellers. That means real friends, people who remind you what you're capable of, not just when you win, but when you fall. You don't need a cheering squad, you need a team that holds you up and holds you accountable. And track your wins, not just the big ones, but the small ones, the ones no one sees. Keep a proof journal. Write down one thing each day that proves you're making progress, even if it's slow. You know what? Especially if it's slow, because you're going to need the reminders. When doubt shows up, you'll have the evidence to fight with it. And finally, end each day with grace and gratitude. Don't beat yourself up for what you didn't do. Look at what you did. Self-doubt feeds on shame, so feed yourself with compassion instead. You're not behind, you're not failing, you're learning, you're growing, and you're still here, and that alone makes you stronger than you realize. Self-doubt doesn't vanish overnight, but it doesn't have to control your life. With the right habits, you don't just silence the voice, you rise above it. You don't need to be fearless, you just need to be consistent. Remind yourself, you've got this, you can handle this, you're ready. This version of you that exists today has gotten you to this point. And that version deserves respect. You fought through things nobody saw. You've endured challenges that could have broken you. And you showed up day after day, even when it was hard. But as much as we honor this version of you, it can't take you where you want to go next. Because growth demands change. So we're going to have to make a split. It's the old you versus the new you. The old you was built for survival, but the next level requires evolution. The old you may have played it safe. The old you may have cared too much about what others think. The old you may have procrastinated, doubted, or made excuses. But the new version of you that's going to succeed has to show up different. It has to speak up, has to take responsibility, and take risks. And that shift won't happen automatically. It happens when you realize you can't live a new life with old habits. You can't reach new heights with an outdated mindset. And you can't chase big dreams while holding on to small thinking. It's uncomfortable, I know, because changing who you are, even for the better, can feel like letting go of something familiar. But what if the familiar is what's been holding you back? What if it's not the world that's stopping you, but the version of yourself you've been clinging to? So let me ask you something. Are your daily habits aligned with the life you say you want? Are the people you surround yourself with pushing you to grow or keeping you stuck? And are your thoughts lifting you or limiting you? Because the gap between where you are and where you want to be, it's not time or talent, it's transformation. It's becoming the person who is ready for that next chapter. And don't get it twisted, this isn't about being fake. It's not about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about becoming more of who you truly are, underneath the fear, the doubt, and excuses. See, the new you isn't a stranger. It's just a version of you that's been waiting to be unleashed. But you have to let go of the parts that no longer serve you. And that means saying no when you used to say yes. That means showing discipline when you used to seek comfort. And that means choosing consistency over chaos. Sometimes it's walking away from things and people that no longer match your growth. Because the next level of your life requires a new level of you. And yes, it will be uncomfortable at first. But so is staying stuck. So is pretending you're fine when you know you're meant for more. This is about being willing to grow, willing to evolve and change. Let the old version of you be the foundation, not the ceiling. Stand on who you were, but rise into who you're meant to become. Because the old you did their job, and now it's time for the new you to take the lead.